This actually came about because a person who's not here yet, she says I helped her husband with the situation by giving them this information. And so when I was talking to her last week, she was asking me more questions about it. And I said, you know what? I'll just do the lecture on this because we never actually discussed it. So that's how today's lecture came about. So this lesson is really about alkalinity. And most of the time when you hear the word alkaline, everyone associates alkaline with health, right? And then you associate acidic with everything horrible, right? In general. And then because of that association, the marketing, the big giants come in and play on that. Oh, this is alkaline. Oh, don't eat that. That's acidic. And this and all this stuff. So let's just get to the root of everything, because like we always discuss in this class, let's know what we're talking about. Don't just throw out buzzwords that have been marketed to you. Let's actually know what they mean so that you can make an informed choice. Okay, that's what this is all about. Like I say in every class, especially for I see new faces in here. So most of y'all probably know that this is a vegan restaurant, plant-based restaurant, and I'm 100% plant-based vegan. That's not my goal to make you that. Okay, it's just to give you the information so that you can choose the best thing for you, so you can't say you didn't know. Okay, that's the whole thing. I'm not here to persuade you to do anything. I'm here to present you information. Okay, and for those who don't know me, my name is Eni Isan Edigi. I am known as the Niger Goddess. That's the name of the company. And I am a board certified holistic nutritionist, certified herbalist, and I am in school to be a naturopathic doctor. And this is my passion. I'm also co-owner of this restaurant, Love and Action Cafe, and some other stuff. We can talk about all that later. And yes, so it is my pleasure to be here. This is our fourth year, starting this year, 2025 is our fourth year doing this cooking class. It's amazing. Yeah, so it's because of you all. If y'all didn't show up, we wouldn't have it. So I'm grateful. And also for those who chose to donate, like we just tried that out because actually it was because you all told me to do that. So those of you all who chose to do that, we appreciate it. It does help buy all the stuff and test all the stuff. So we're grateful to you. And those who didn't, your presence here is donation enough. And I'm grateful either way. Okay. So thank you, and thank you. All right. So with that, how was it? Was this easy, hard? Did you know most of the answers? You felt like... Okay. Okay, I wasn't sure how you all would take it. Okay. All right. So, pH. Who knows what pH stands for?
I'm a nurse. I should know.
You should definitely know
Yeah,
it.
I know, right?
But that's okay. Okay, pH, the actual acronym stands for potential of hydrogen. Potential of hydrogen. Okay? So it's a scale from 1 to 14. Has everybody finished answering all the questions front and back? Okay, go ahead. It's a scale from 1 to 14 with 1 through 7 being acidic, and then anything 1 up to 7 being acidic, and anything over 7 being alkaline, also known as base or basic. Okay? So now I'm passing out the notes for today's lecture, because if I gave it to you up front, you would be using that and cheating on what you just did. Okay? Hi, welcome. How you doing? Okay. So you can kind of follow along with me better. So anything that is deemed as acidic in general, most people are like, oh God, it's acidic. I don't want that, right? And if it's alkaline, I want all the alkalinity. I want my alkalize my body, and all those kind of buzzwords, buzz phrases. Is that correct or not correct?
Correct. It's not correct.
Okay. So anything that is pH 7 is pH neutral, meaning that it's not acidic and it's not basic, or it's not alkaline, whichever word you choose to use. So who knows something that is pH 7? Water. Ding, 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 ding. We're going to add to that list. There's a lot of other things that are pH neutral, but in general, pH neutral is 7. Oh, okay, y'all good. Okay. All right. So is our body in general, when you say is your body alkaline, is your body acidic, what do people actually mean, or what do you mean when you say that? When you say I don't want to have an acidic body, I don't want to have or I want to have an alkaline body, because that's how most people say I want to alkalize my body. What does that mean? So what I think I heard Letitia say is when she hears acid, because she's had acid reflux, her thought process is that too much acid in the body. Okay, we're going to discuss that. We're going to discuss that. Okay, so I will start by saying that your body is both. Okay, so you have pH of your blood, there's pH of your urine, there's pH of your saliva, there's pH of your vagina, there's pH of your semen, there's pH of your large intestines, small intestines, your skin, your hair. Every one of them has a certain pH. Okay, good to see y'all again. Did y'all get a sheet? Okay, okay. Every one has a certain pH. So the one that is most critical is your blood pH. Your blood pH has to be a very specific between 7.3 and 7.4. If it's outside that range, you are dead. You're dead. Okay? And your body does everything in its power to keep homeostasis, to make sure that that blood pH stays at that level. So that's one thing, and it's hard for you to change that. So we're going to talk about why, if you eat quote unquote alkaline foods, why that has really no effect on your blood pH. And most people, when they're talking about acidifying or alkalizing the body, they're referring to their blood. That was the answer I was trying to get y'all to say. But it's okay. It's okay. We're going to get there. All right. Then we have the pH of our stomachs. What is our stomach, acidic or alkaline? Okay. Why do you think it's acidic? Are y'all looking at the sheet that gives the answers, or y'all answering? For digestion. Okay. Okay. Right. So if our stomach acids, our stomach is between a 1 and a 3. That's the lowest end of the pH scale. Yes? Okay. And we already said that water and 7 is neutral, right? Okay. Our small intestine. What does our small intestines do?
The small intestine really breaks down the food from the stomach. It takes the nutrients to the body.
The small intestines absorbs all the micronutrients that have been broken down on this whole passageway from your mouth. That's going to eventually come through the anus, and it's going to absorb it. That's how you're going to actually absorb your nutrients. So when you have malabsorption, that's in your small intestines, right? Are your small intestines alkaline or acidic? That's what the sheet says? Okay, I think the sheet's correct. Yes. Your small intestines are slightly alkaline. That's it. It's people who reserve. That's how I printed for. Okay. The share. If you're coming in, please share with somebody. Or if there's another sheet on the table that's extra. Okay. Okay, great. All right, so our large intestines, alkaline or acidic? Acidic. All right, our skin, since y'all reading the answers. Okay. Vaginas, and I put vagina specifically because I knew it tends to be more women than men in here. Okay, so when you talk about vaginal pH, that can you say, oh, that threw off my vaginal pH. So if you're using like scented lotions and soaps and stuff, or perfume douches and things like that, or alkaline sperm, okay, because it's you think sperm is supposed to be acidic. Sperm is actually alkaline. Semen is alkaline. So the vagina is naturally acidic. So especially if you take like lots of antibiotics, the doctors like to pass them out like candy, right? It kills off everything, not just the bad stuff, but the good stuff too, right? So most women, when they take around antibiotics, next thing you know, they get a yeast infection because your pH has been thrown off. It's become too alkaline, and the candida overgrows. That's what happens. Then if you're with a partner that has horrible eating habits and doesn't hydrate properly, and his pH of his semen is not good, you have a problem. It throws off your pH. That stuff does happen, and we don't talk about it a lot. It's not always just the woman. It's both parties. Okay, so pH is very important. So depending on what function of their body, what it's doing, depends on what pH it is. So just to say, I want to alkaline my body or I want to acidify my body, what that doesn't make sense if you just went through, because your body works as a system. It's not isolated. Okay, so you don't want to have alkaline skin. You want to have acidic skin because it's going to fight off all the infections because it's exposed to the outside world. So essentially, anything that's exposed to the outside, it's acidic to fight off infections and parasites and all those things. And more things that are internal or tend to be more alkaline. So it has to work in balance. Any questions on that so far? For us, I just laid the groundwork before I start going deep. We're good. Y'all still tracking? Okay. Make sure I haven't missed anything off y'all's sheet. Let me see. We're good. Okay. All right, so then we have a lot of stuff about this alkaline water, and there are these fancy, expensive machines which I own. I own one of those Kangen machines where you can have alkaline water. And so anytime, even in this restaurant, when we've had alkaline water, it flies off. I want alkaline water. What makes the water alkaline? Outside the buzzword and it sounds good, you think you're doing something good for your health. What is alkaline water? Okay, it will mean the pH of it, right? But if I create alkaline water versus water that is naturally alkaline, what's the difference between the two? Does anybody know? Huh? The bottle?
Yeah, weighs label.
Okay. So when they as in companies sell water that's not like natural spring water, they have put electricity into the water, which is this. If we go into the biology of it, it displaces a hydrogen ion, and that's what makes the water alkaline by pH. Okay, but actually, alkaline water means it has minerals in it. What makes it alkaline is the presence of potassium, magnesium, calcium, those inorganic minerals. Okay, so that's why naturally occurring spring water is naturally alkaline to the body. So if you do it in an artificial way and you don't have those trace minerals in there, it is not, your body cannot process it. Well, it's going to be harmful to your body. And why is that? So we've talked about this multiple times in this class. When you put something in your mouth and you chew it, that's called what? Who recalls my OGs? So bolus. Okay, and you're gonna keep chewing until it's a liquid, right? And you're gonna swallow. It's gonna go down, and it becomes, when you swallow, it becomes what? Chyme, right? Okay. When the chyme reaches your stomach is supposed to be what? Acidic, between 1 and 3. Yes. Okay. All right. And so that's where you're gonna start to break down your proteins and all that. So if you have your stomach acids not fiery enough, it can't break those down. So just think about this. If I had some lemon juice here and I put some baking soda on top of it, what happens? It fizzes. That fizzing is what? What's happening when it fizzes? It's a chemical reaction that's doing what? It's neutralizing the acid. So just think about that. So if you're eating your food, remember now you're supposed to eat and drink together. That's a whole other lecture I can go into. But let's say you're still doing that. You're eating your food, and then you decide to drink some alkaline water. The digestive enzymes in your stomach that are acidic, what are you doing to those digestive enzymes in your stomach? You are neutralizing the acid in your stomach. Now, what we've also talked about in this class before, as we age, our digestive fire is not as fiery. Okay, and I've given the example many times, like a 18-year-old boy eating 5 steaks, it doesn't even affect him, and then when he's 55 doing the same thing, he's like, yo, what's up? Because, sir, you can't do that. Okay, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. All right, so as we age and then you're doing these things that are neutralizing your stomach acids, then you're having a harder time to break down those things in your stomach that's supposed to, before it goes to your large intestine and your small intestine, so you can absorb those nutrients. It won't happen. You're going to struggle and you're going to become nutrient deficient. And that's what happens with so many people. I cannot tell you how many people I've seen in clinic that it's something so small like this that it changes it changes everything in their life, just from something this small, just knowing this piece of information. Okay, So now, if you see natural spring water, and you see where it's sourced from, or you can go, like I always tell you all, to Concord and get it from the well. It's free, right? My husband drives up there and fills up our 5-gallon glass containers. You can have natural spring water, right? That's good for your body. That will mineralize your body, and that's the first thing you drink when you wake up in the morning to rehydrate. Because after you've slept and fasted, you are dehydrated by nature when you wake up. That's the first thing you put in your body. Do not reach for whatever thing you're reaching for normally. If you're thinking about bacon and eggs and all stuff, like chill, like hydrate first. Okay. 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 I'm gonna keep going because I can go off my tangents. Okay. Then there's other myths I hear, and I'm sure you've heard that cancer can't survive in an alkaline environment. True or untrue? It says false. Anybody think it's true? It's a fact. Okay. Well, then something they say a little bit of truth in everything. So, this premise came from maybe almost 100 years ago now. This Italian doctor who cured many people of cancer by giving them baking soda. But the part they leave out was that he was injecting the baking soda directly into the tumors. He wasn't having them drink baking soda like people are doing now. So if you're drinking, because that's a whole trend of they're saying people are saying, well, I feel better, and my this went away, my that went away. I would suggest to them that when you get diagnosed with something like cancer, you're not just doing one thing, okay? And they might just think it's the baking soda, but no, you really people with cancer should have the most digestive fire because they need it the most. Okay, you should not be alkalizing your stomach acids. You are really doing a detriment to yourself. So that's a myth that I just definitely want to make sure was busted. And actually, cancer cells themselves are alkaline. They expel the hydrogen ions outside the cell, so the environment outside the cell is acidic, but the cancer cell internally is actually alkaline. Okay, so this is something to be aware of. All right, so I said in the very beginning that your body like regulates its own pH, because if you change your blood pH or anything like that, like you will die because you can't do it. Do you know like the three organs or the three ways that your body regulates its pH? And I'm referring to blood pH. Not the heart. Kidneys are critical. Yes, there's another organ and then there's another function. The pancreas. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. It's not another organ. It's a function that the body does. Exhaling what? Yeah, we exhale carbonic acid, yes, or carbon dioxide, right? Okay, so your kidneys are such an important organ in the body because they regulate your blood pressure, right? But they excrete bicarbonate, which is something natural to the body. So what happens this? So I didn't go back. Let me go back. I went too fast. When we talk about the lemon and the baking soda thing, and we said that when it fizzes up, that's the neutralization of the acid. Yes. So in your body, so this is why you can have a lime or a lemon that you know is acidic. It's like a 2 on the pH scale. But then you've always heard that it's alkalizing to the body, because once the acid gets into your stomach, what happens is your pancreas releases bicarbonate. So, and the pancreas releases that bicarbonate because we said what? We said the small intestine stuff is what? Slightly alkaline, right? So that means it can't have all this acidity going through it. So the pancreas will release the bicarbonate to neutralize the acid, so it can continue to go through and actually digest. Does that make sense? Is that too sciencey, or I need to break it down some more? I'm seeing some slight confusion. Okay. Okay. You drink lemon juice. Hopefully it's diluted because it doesn't mess up your teeth or anything. You drink some lemon juice, all right, which is acidic, yes? Okay. It's going into your stomach, which is what? Acidic, right. It's going to go through your large intestine, your small intestine. When it gets to your small intestine, we say your small intestine is what? Okay. So if something is alkaline and you're going to put all this acid on it, it's something that's got to neutralize it, right? So your pancreas releases bicarbonate, which is what baking soda is, sodium bicarbonate. It releases bicarbonate to neutralize those acids, to keep so that everything stays in balance. Does that make does that is that better? Okay, your face cleared up. Okay, right. So our kidneys excrete that. The kidneys excrete the extra hydrogen. The kidneys excrete the bicarbonate. That's why, and that helps. That's what keeps the blood pH balanced. Your pancreas, we already said, releases the bicarbonate. So what does the our breathing do when we release carbonic acid, or it comes out the lungs? So those are the three ways that your body maintains its pH. So in any of those three ways, did it say anything about drinking water or eating quote unquote alkaline foods that's going to change your pH? So when someone's telling you eat alkaline foods, drink alkaline water, does that make sense if you actually know what it is? There's a lot of talk on the internet, and it's like sometimes like a little bit of information can be dangerous because you'll see things. It sounds like it makes sense. It seems like, oh yeah, I want to be. I don't. I don't want. When I hear acid, I think battery acid subconsciously. Like I don't know if anybody else thought that, and I just didn't want any parts of that. And alkalize just sounded good. It's like, oh, when I think of alkaline foods, I think of green foods and whole foods and all that. But that's not what it means, because most of those foods are actually acidic if you're on the pH scale. So we're going to dive into that in just a sec. But any questions about how your body regulates its own pH? Okay. The question was, is lime water or lemon water good to drink? And the question is absolutely. We're gonna go through the sheet. We're gonna go through the sheet. Okay. Is there a use for acidic water? So, like I said, I have the expensive Kangen water machine and all that. Yes, it is great for cleaning. It's great for instead of using hand sanitizer, like, use it as your hand sanitizer. Spray it in your hair because your hair and your scalp is acidic. Spray on your skin when you get out of a shower because you just use soap, and soap is what? Very alkaline. And this nonsense, just as a side note, it's like the same way people say eating alkaline foods and all that. They'll say, I want no lye soap. It's impossible for it to be soap without lye. It's saponification requires lye, otherwise it's just oil and water. It all soap is done with lye. So if you get the kind of melt and pour, the saponification process already happened. So like sometimes in the natural healing space, so even though I don't want to say I bash the um, main type of healthy stuff that they're talking about that's trendy, the natural people stuff, they go off on tangents too. Okay, it's room on both sides, and that's one of the things. Like, I no lye soap, and I only eat alkaline foods, and I'm an alkaline vegan, and what does that mean? You're saying buzzwords because you heard Dr. Sabi said this, and this person said that, and this person said that, and you don't know how they all come together, and you're saying things, and then you're limiting yourself on the foods you're eating, thinking that this is going to be acidifying to your body, not understanding how the body works, how the body breaks down food and all that, and then you hurt yourself. You hurt your digestion, you hurt your absorption, and all these things because you have just a tiny bit of information. You don't really understand how it all works together. So that's why we have these classes, for information, right? Because what they're saying, there's a little bit of truth in what they're saying, but you didn't pay for the information. You haven't sat for years studying this. You have not worked with clients and seen their blood work and seen to see it in real life. Okay. We're going to go into that a little bit further with our limited time left. Let me just make sure I'm keep going with you all. Okay, we talked about all that. Okay, so I think our kind of answers. What's the best water to drink? Somebody just said distilled water. What is distilled water? Huh? The best water to drink is naturally occurring spring water. That means ones that are filled with minerals. Mineral filled natural water, preferably from a glass bottle, glass source, or natural source, or from the ground. Okay, that is the best water to drink. Distilled water is just is absolutely neutral. There's nothing. There's no trace minerals in there. There's nothing in it. So that's something to use. Like if you're doing like a hydrosol, like I use that a lot in like the cosmetic stuff that I make. You use distilled water. If you're using CPAP machines or any kind of machine that requires water, you want to use distilled water for that for sure. It has its purpose. If you're doing teas, you can use distilled water because you're inputting in the herbs, the nutrients into distilled water, but I would still use spring water too. Okay. All right. And then you have people that say, it's like when you test the pH of your urine, what does that tell you?
Whether you're getting enough water.
So she said whether you're getting enough water or not. So not quite. So some people believe if they test their urine and it's alkaline or it's acidic, that tells them if they're doing well or if they're not doing well. What they're testing is what the body's getting rid of. It's not testing what's in the body. So your body, if it's expelling something that's acidic, okay, it's getting rid of that. That's not telling you what's happening inside the body. It's telling you what the body excreted because it's supposed to get rid of the things that it doesn't need. Okay, so I just want to put that out there. But the urine pH is something that can be easily manipulated. That's something that can be manipulated by the food you're eating, the water you are or are not drinking, stress, and any kind of supplements you might be taking. That will vary. Your urine pH can swing all over the place. It can be acidic today, alkaline tomorrow. It swings all over the place. Okay, so it does not have, it doesn't reflect what's happening inside the body. Is letting you know what your body is releasing. Does that make sense? Okay, all right. So before we go through our final thing, I have a couple of things. I like to try to paint pictures with words. Yes, ma'am. Okay, thank you. So the question is, what is acidic water? So by definition, acidic water is anything with any water with a pH less than 7. So there's some water you get like when you buy it in these plastic bottles stuff that's going to be around 6.8, 6.5. That's slightly acidic water. It's just how they've done it. Natural spring water is going to tend to be like 7.1, 7, like right around there. And then when you use the machines that do it artificially, then you can manipulate. Like I can make water like down to like pH 3 on the machine, and I can make all it to pH 9 on the machine, and you use it for different things. You have to think about what is really, really alkaline. Like what's like a 10, 11, 12 on the pH scale? Hey, by the way, I'm hearing crickets. Okay, let me ask an easier question then. What's really acidic? What's like 1, 2, or 3 on the pH scale? Blueberries are around a 4. Vinegar, lime, yes, around 2, 3. Depends. Yes. Okay. So we got the acidic side. So we don't know what's on the other side. All right. So like bleach, ammonia, Drano, all those caustic, corrosive things. That's why is actually more dangerous than acidic. Like, is it more dangerous for you to drink a Coke, which is pH 2, than it is for you to drink Drano, which is pH 10.5? Right. But at the beginning of the class, you all said alkaline was good, and drinking alkaline was good, and eating alkaline was good, right? Because it's a buzzword that they're seducing you with because they know you don't understand all the inner workings, right? There's a place for both, and the body works as a system. Okay, so I don't think anybody here is going to drink Drano,
No.
right? And that's very high on the other side of the pH scale, right? I don't think you all would do that. Okay, just checking. All right, so I came up with these 4 analogies to try to cement it home before we go through our answer key. All right, so I haven't had a fish, but I know a lot of people who've had fish tanks. But I think most people know that fish tanks have to have a certain pH and a certain balance so the fish can live. Oh, yes? Okay, so if you own a fish tank, would you dump baking soda or bleach in the water to make it healthier? Because baking soda and bleach are alkaline. Would you do that? Okay. Just I'm just checking. Okay, so so that's the same thing. The same that will be akin. So if you had a fish tank and you decide to put bleach in it because it's alkaline, that's the same thing like you drinking alkaline water, thinking it's going to help and alkalize your body when it's going to go to your stomach and it's going to neutralize your stomach acids. Okay, that's what you don't want to do, especially as we age. Your digestive fire goes down, so you want to do things to boost your digestive fire, not neutralize it or decrease it. Okay. All right. Second analogy: if you're a firefighter, something's on fire. Imagine you're a firefighter. You're trying to put out a fire in a burning building. What happens if your water pressure is too low? So instead of the fire hydrant, this that full on pressure, right? If it's just trickling, is kind of hanging like this, what's going to happen to the fire? It spreads out of control. Yeah. Okay. So you need high water pressure to extinguish the fire properly. Yes. Okay. Okay. So your stomach acid is like the firefighter's water pressure. That's what that's akin to. So if it's too high, not too low, if it's too high, meaning if it's going further and further up the pH scale, that means the pressure's too low. So when stuff comes down, especially if you're still eating those dead cows, dead pigs, all that crap that you're still probably still eating, right? It can't break it down. And then you're going to associate that with either having the itis or just getting older or feeling tired. You're going to associate it with that just being normal when it's absolutely not. It's absolutely not. Okay. So you do not want to neutralize those stomach acids. So you want to make sure that you have strong stomach acid, which means low stomach acid, low on the pH scale, and not weak stomach acid. Okay, because that's going to lead to not only poor digestion, that leads to nutrient deficiencies. Because in your stomach, this is where you're going to absorb iron, calcium, and vitamin B12 specifically. And there's a epidemic of people being woefully low in vitamin B12 in particular. Most people are iron deficient. We've already talked about magnesium ad nauseum, but being magnesium deficient. But it could be something as simple as you don't have enough digestive fire to even break those down so your body can absorb it. And then you'll be on all these medications and be diagnosed with all these other diseases that you actually don't even have, but you have a simple nutrient deficiency. There's my baby. Hey, sweetheart. Okay, and it also will lead to bacterial overgrowth as well when you have weak digestive fire. It's very critical. Like something so simple, it sounds so simple, but it can really be transformative if you're made like if you're consciously aware of these things and don't get seduced into these buzzwords. Okay, like and just know what you're talking about. So alkalizing the stomach is absolutely not beneficial. In fact, it's absolutely harmful to your health. Okay. All right, just make sure I'm making the point. Okay. It's Dumar. You tell how can open the back door. Okay. All right. So my last one. I think I already asked you about that. So, um, sorry, guys. Okay. All right. So, pH. So, when you drink a Coke, I'm not saying that's good. I hope if y'all remember my sugar lecture, about how many grams of sugar, which is how many teaspoons of sugar are in a Coke and the Pepsi and a lemonade and all that crap, right? You're talking about like 19 to 22 teaspoons of sugar in something, right? In one little 12-ounce bottle. All right, so it's not good. So I don't want you to think I'm comparing it to like Drano that I'm saying that the Coke is good because it's not. All right, but what does that do when you drink something that's that low in acidity? What does that do? It can damage what? Right here. Your teeth. Yeah. Okay. It can damage your teeth. It can irritate your stomach, right? And acting like that's normal is not. But your body is built to handle acids. That's the point. Your body's built to handle acids because of everything you put down the gullet goes right into an acid pit. Your body's built for it. It's not built for a bunch of supposedly alkaline things to go down. So here's the thing. So all these supposedly alkaline foods, they're not alkaline on the pH scale. And then you can say, well, so what? Any so a lime is not alkaline, but it's alkalizing in the body. So yes, because the bicarbonate release that happens regardless of what you eat. Okay, so I can say so if I say to you that eating celery is not alkaline, it's actually pH neutral. It's actually pH neutral. Most of the green leafy vegetables are actually pH neutral. They're not alkaline per se. A lot of the fruits are acidic. A lot of the whole grains and beans are acidic on the pH scale. But regardless, your body's going to go the same process because it's all going to go into that fiery pit of acid. Okay? So what does it mean? So does that mean when you eat meat and cheese and eggs and all the other crap that I don't want to think about that people are still eating? What does that? Does that mean that's good? No, because those have other types of acids that are inflammatory to the body. So you have like arachidonic acid, for example, when you're eating the meat and the cheese and the poultry and all the things, okay, that's inflammatory to the body. So having an inflammatory response is completely separate from the potential of hydrogen scale. It has nothing to do with being alkaline or acidifying. Then they'll say, well, certain foods cause mucus building. Yes. So anything that's inflammatory to the body, it causes mucus to be produced, right? And that's mainly your meats and your dairy, especially dairy. That's why I always tell people if you're trying to eat better, even if you want to keep your dead cow on your plate for now, get rid of the breast milk. Get rid of it. It is like a non-negotiable. Anybody's gonna work with me, I'll say, I'm not telling you to be vegan, but you cannot consume dairy. Especially if you are a melanated person. If you're a non-ether being, you cannot consume dairy. It is the cow's baby's milk. It is not for you. It is not for you as a human being. It is not for you. You can have dairy-free butter pecan, Sharon. I promise you. You can, and it tastes delicious. Okay, but the teat is not for you. It's just not. Okay, it's a non-negotiable. We can work on your, I consider animals my friends, not my food. So I don't even see it as a food source, right? But that's for you. That's up to you. I can't tell you that you can't live a healthy life eating some dead animals, because you can. I would be lying if I said that. I'm saying you don't have to. And I'm saying that the arachidonic acid and the other inflammatory markers that it does to your body, you don't have to do that. Because anytime you get sick, do they say eat lots of meat and cheese and eggs? Or they say you need to eat lots more vegetables and fruits and hydrate. It's meat. So the question was, what about seafood? Those are all dead animals, okay? Whether they're on land or swimming in this ocean, they are all animals. They all have flesh. They all produce the same response in the body. It is your choice if you want to consume them or not. It is your choice, okay? And I cannot stand here and tell you that you cannot live a healthy life and still consume some dead animals. All of the blue zones, the 7 blue zones in the world, they're all 90% or more plant-based, meaning that if for the few zones that eat meat, it's 10% or less of their diet. It's more of a garnish, okay? They don't center the plate around a big hunk of steak and then you sprinkle in some asparagus, something like that. They don't do that. It's the opposite. It's the opposite. They sprinkle the fish is they don't eat these huge things. It's not like that. And they're living to be well over 100. Okay? Because you have blue zones that are completely 100% vegan. You have blue zones that eat meat, and then most of them don't eat a whole lot of dairy, though. I will say that's kind of consistent. But they do eat meat, but they don't eat a lot of meat. Meat being ground or aquatic. Okay, sorry. The question is, what is a blue zone? Blue zones are the areas of the world where the average population in that area lives to be over 100 and still has a high quality of life. Now, the main thread outside of their diet that ties those blue zones together is having a sense of purpose in life and being ambulatory, meaning being able to walk, like still doing things. That's the common thread through all seven blue zones, and like I said, they're all 90% to 100% plant based. They all eat beans. All seven blue zones eat beans of all sorts. Okay, and no one of those blue zones going about talking about drinking alkaline water that's artificially made. I need to eat alkaline food and all this stuff. They eat real food that's grown from the ground. If they eat those dead animals, they are on the property that they. It's not this stuff in the grocery store that has like 15 different cows in that one package. Okay, that were not pasture raised. They were all in these confined animal feeding operation lots. That's where 95% of the meat in the United States comes from. Those confined animal feeding lots where they trap these poor female cows in these what they call rape racks. They are artificially inseminated. They are milked until they can't produce anymore, and then they're killed for slaughter for you to have your 99-cent cheeseburger at McDonald's. Okay, they stand in their own feces. They have tons and tons of mucus, and the antibiotics they get. Like, I don't even want to go there. It's absolutely, it's disturbing. It's disturbing on so many levels. Okay, so we are running out of time, but so let's go through your sheet and let's go through the justifications now. All right, so number one, cancer can't survive in an alkaline body. Is that fact, fiction, or flat out foolish? Flat out foolish. Because like I said, cancer cells are actually alkaline cells. Okay, the environment outside the cell is acidic. The cancer cell itself is alkaline. So, okay, so that's the explanation there. All right, so number two, your stomach needs to stay acidic to digest protein and absorb minerals. 100% facts. Stomach acid is essential for digestion and immunity. Okay. All right. Number three, lemon juice or lime juice or whatever is alkalizing to the body. Neutralizing to the body? It's alkalizing to the body, like we said. So, yes, it is acidic, but the pancreas releases the bicarbonate, so it has an alkalizing effect on the body. So it's not all acidic, correct. So it's acidic outside of the body, but triggers an alkaline response via the bicarbonate release in the pancreas. Okay. Okay, number four, you can measure your body's pH by peeing on test paper. pH test paper. Flat food. It's fiction because it's not flat out foolish because you can measure pH. It's just not your body's pH. You're just measuring what your body got rid of. Okay. All right, number five, alkaline water boosts your energy and balances your pH. Flat out foolish. It's a marketing myth. Okay, your body regulates its own pH. Look, we weren't created for us to have to be biochemists and chemists and all that to regulate our own pH. Just like you don't have to make your heart beat, you don't have to breathe, like think consciously to breathe. You don't have to think about your pH of your body. It does it automatically as part of the autonomic nervous system. It does it automatically. Okay, you don't do that. Okay, soap is more alkaline than soda is acidic. It's a fact because soap can range from 10 to 12, whereas soda is around 2.5. All right. Low stomach acid causes acid reflux. It's a fact. So weak stomach acid allows fermentation and the valve dysfunction. So what happens? So if we go back to what Letitia said earlier in the class, she believes because she didn't have that she was doing. No, you don't have low enough stomach acid. It's weak. And so what happens when people start getting the acid reflux? They take stuff like Tums, right? Which is an antacid, right? Which does what? Neutralize. And then you wonder why you have to keep taking it forever, and you don't really actually get better. It's a temporary relief. And so when your stomach acids are too low, there's a valve here that opens and shuts. What's happened because it's not strong enough, it's flapping open. and that's what's letting that acid come back up because you have weak digestive fire and you need to strengthen it. That's what that means. Do not take Tums. They shouldn't. It should be illegal. And if you go on PubMed, like when people say, "Oh, I research," stop doing these cursory Google searches, okay? Because they're paid to be at the top. Go to Google Scholar. So you know at the top it says all news, images, stuff like that. Keep scrolling all the way over, and you're gonna see Scholar. Okay, that's where you can see actual research. People kill me. I researched it. Oh, you saw it on TikTok? TikTok is not research. YouTube is not research. Okay? Go to Google Scholar, and that's where it has to be peer-reviewed, published articles where you can actually see something with a substantial sample size of people. And they do it on animals too, but look for human trials where they've done this, and you actually can see actual research. And stop doing this little Medline. What's the other one that's popular? WebMD. All this stuff where everything you're gonna die because you have they list every single symptom, and then you think you have everything, and then you think you've done your research, and then you don't know how the body, and then you freak out. Then you go to your doctor that has no idea how the body works naturally because that doctor specializes in just the heart. So if you only have a hammer, what they say, then everything looks like you can just hammer it, right? If that's the only tool you have. So just think about it. And I'm never trying to slam MDs. I'm never trying to do that because never trying to do that. That's just understanding who you're going to and what their toolbox is. And just know that they can only give you things out of their toolbox. So have an expansive health team, okay, that can cover all the bases and that will see your entire body, not just one facet. Oh, I went to my heart doctor. Oh, then I went to my endocrinologist. Oh, then I went to my head. Come on. The body does not work like that. Who is looking at the total body? Who's looking at all the crazy prescriptions they gave you? Who's looking at your diet? Who's looking at how many bowel movements you take a day? Who's looking at all that as one unit to see what's actually happening with you? If you don't have anybody like that on your health team, you do not have a health team. You have a symptom management team. You need to have somebody or people on your team that are going to get to the root cause because our bodies are designed to heal themselves. Our bodies are designed to heal themselves. They're not designed to stay on medications for the rest of your life. Who does that benefit? It ain't benefiting you. Okay? It does not benefit you. So I can give you a $10 fix, but instead of you being on, but there's some people that don't want to take responsibility for their own health. That's what the real cause is. And so when people who come to me, I always say you have to make a decisive decision. So when you want to say, I can't afford it, okay, you can't afford not to. You can't afford not to. Your health is your responsibility. It's not your doctor's responsibility. It's not your husband's responsibility. It ain't your mama's responsibility. It is your responsibility and yours alone. And if your health is not where you want it to be, it is on you. Okay? And you come to this class as you taking a step and having the education that you need to get to the place that you want to be. All right? Your doctor's not the end of it. Your doctor's not a guide. Y'all stop putting these doctors on these pedestals. They are indoctrinated. And who does the curriculum for the medical doctors? The drug companies. Okay? The doctors cannot tell you about herbs that heal. The doctors can't. They can't. Now, as a person that started off going, I was doing a doctorate of nurse practitioner program at the same time as a naturopathic doctor program at the same time. And then I told my husband, I can't. I had to drop the DNP program because you start off with a sick body. That's the whole premise of medical school. They do not start. There's no template for a healthy body. You start. Here's a nurse right here. She's saying amen. Okay. You start off with a sick body. So when you go to your doctor, so that's why sometimes you go to your doctor, you don't feel right. They look at your labs like, well, everything's in normal range and stuff like that. And then come back 6 months later, now everything's 10 times worse. Now, here's the drugs for you for the rest of your life, right? That's not healing. That is symptom management. That's symptom suppression, right? We're on the naturopathic side. The whole premise is starting with a healthy body. And when things are out of whack, let's fix it. And just on a side note with that, a lot of people like to jump into hormones. Oh, my hormones. Hormones are the absolute last thing to touch. You should not do anything to doctor your hormones. Your hormones are reacting to the other crap, the other cascaded things that are not happening in your body like they're supposed to. and your hormones are adjusting to that. So when you come in at the bottom doing something that's at the very bottom, that's a result of all the stuff that comes before the hormones change, you're playing a dangerous game. You're playing a dangerous game. I always tell people, like, don't, oh, you think your progesterone's out of whack? Don't just take progesterone. Why is the progesterone out of whack? Why is your testosterone low? It didn't just happen for no reason. So just adding testosterone is not fixing the problem. Adding estrogen or removing estrogen is not fixing the problem. The root cause of why that's happening, you haven't addressed it. Okay, I'm sorry I got way off on that, but I wasn't supposed to do that. But I just want to make sure that you understand it's on you. Okay, and so yes, in this country, because they favor pharmaceuticals, they favor big agri. That's why you can go. I haven't been so many years, so I don't know if they still have dollar menus or not, or whatever. It's still subsidized. That's why when they say, well, it's too healthy, it's too expensive to eat healthy, because it's not subsidized. There's no lobby for asparagus. Okay, there's no lobby for broccoli. There's no lobby for all the stuff that's organic. All the crap that y'all eat for $5.10 and whatever, it's a lobbyist for that. It's subsidized by the government. That's why you get it so cheap. If you had to pay full price, and think about it, it's a whole animal now. It's got to eat. It's got to drink lots of water. It's got to take up space. Think about its whole life, and then it's got to be slaughtered, it's got to be processed, it's got to be delivered, it's got to be all over the world and stuff. How much that burger would actually cost you if it wasn't subsidized by the government? And then you say eating plant-based is too healthy. If you don't do it now, you're going to pay later. That's the point. Okay, let me get off that thing because I'll go way off on that. So no, where are we? Number 8. Okay, number 8. That's on the back. All right, drinking baking soda cures cancer. That is flat out foolish. That can cause alkalosis, right? Alkalosis or acidosis is something. It's two extremes. Both have horrible side effects. You know, you can have heart arrhythmias. You can go into a coma. So many things. When you start, like the person that inspired this class, her husband started having heart arrhythmias, and she was just telling me about it. I said, "Does he drink alkaline water?" She's like, "Oh yes, we have a garage full of alkaline water, and he drinks it all the time. He's very consistent on that." I said, "You tell him to stop immediately. Tell him to stop immediately. I don't care whoever said what. Tell him to stop immediately." They're going to do this whole procedure on him and all this other stuff. And then she came back, it's like, he's feeling better. He has all his energy now. He can, he's digesting his food better. She's like, we had no idea. He's been drinking it for years. Hey, Leslie. Okay, so the question is, when washing fresh produce, do I recommend washing it in baking soda or vinegar? So my actual answer is it depends. I'm not a person that's like super like tripping on stuff being on things. Like I'll just rinse it off with plain water and be fine for me personally, because our world now is very sterile. Before we used to grow our own food, you had a little dirt or something on there. It did not kill you. It actually helped you. The beneficial bacteria, that's how you got your B12, because B12 is a bacteria, it's not a vitamin. So when I see a little bit of dirt, I'm cool with it personally. Okay. For me inside the house, not when I'm catered. So here at Love and Action Cafe, we don't do that. Okay. When I'm doing meal preps, I don't do that. Okay, I'm talking about for my household. So the short answer, so that's why I said it depends. So for me personally, I could care less. I'll just rinse it off. I'm not bothered about some dirt. I'm actually seeking it out. Okay, as long as I know it's organic. As long as you're buying organic, then you know I can get a whole organic soapbox, but that's not. We are over time. I gotta start cooking. I'm going to warm up this pot while I'm wrapping this up. So what you can do, first buy organic, because if you're not buying organic, then you are literally consuming glyphosate. Glyphosate is Roundup, okay? And that's why they have all this GMO seed that's Roundup resistant. You are eating that. And if you have ever been to any of my classes or seen any of my little lectures that kind of went semi-viral, it is, you cannot wash it off because it is inside the food, okay? It is inside the food. So, and I gave you the example. I had a white flour. I put a little bit of green food coloring in the water. The stem absorbed that green food coloring, and now the white flour is green. Can you wash it off? That is what happens when you eat conventionally grown foods. You cannot wash it off. You only wash off the little bit that's on top. That does come off, but the main stuff that's inside, you're still eating that. Okay, so pay the extra 20 cents per pound and buy organic. Now, organic is not foolproof, but you're not getting the glyphosate. And that's like I can do a separate whole lecture on that. So we'll go back to that. All right. Did I answer your question thoroughly? Okay. Number 9, the body becomes acidic from eating meat and dairy. I'm seeing mixed signals. Okay, it is fiction. Why is it fiction? Because what we eat does not change our blood pH. That's the pH of the body. The pH, when you say the pH of the body, pH of the body is referring to your blood pH, because that's what's keeping us alive. That 7.3 to 7.4, that's what keeps us alive. Whatever you put down your mouth does not change your blood pH. If it was that simple, people would be dropping like flies left and right, okay, with all the meat and dairy that y'all eating, okay? We wouldn't be here to have the class, okay? So no, it is not true. So food does not meaningfully impact your blood pH. The body buffers that through all the different systems that we just went through. I gave you a short list of each system has a certain alkalinity that it has to stay within, or a pH that has to stay within for a certain reason for what it's doing. All right, and number 10, spring water with minerals is the best water to drink. That's a fact. Mineral-rich spring water hydrates without disrupting the stomach acid. Okay? All right. So acidity can sting, but alkalinity can burn. Your body has stomach acid for a reason. Don't fight it, feed it. And alkaline hype is a marketing myth backed by machines. And big money is not backed by biology. So on the natural side, when people are saying alkaline, they mean well. They're just saying eat foods and vegetables that are natural to the earth. That are not made in a laboratory. That are not sprayed with a bunch of chemicals. That's what they're meaning when they're saying alkaline foods. But that is not what it actually is in real life. So I just want you all to have the knowledge so when you hear it, you know what they mean. And don't get seduced by buying things and say, oh, it's alkaline. I think I hopefully have made the point of why it's a farce, okay? Because that's, Lord have mercy, get my own blood pressure up. Woosah. Let me move on and feed y'all, because that's what y'all really came for, not my blabbering so much, right? Opposite, okay. All right. So, transitioning, we're going to still incorporate, oh, I don't have a towel up here. Okay. It's all right. So our food for us today, I like for us to go to different countries. I'm always partial to my country of Nigeria, so you always might see a little dash of West Africa in there somewhere. But today we're going to go to Jamaica for our stew, a lentil stew, and then for because I have Sharon here that has obligated me for the past 3 years to make sure something sweet occurs in each class. Not to call you out, Sharon. It's a great challenge. Oh crap! My hands are so wet. It's okay. It's already on now. Our semi-sweet thing today is straight from Nigeria. It's something I want to expose you all to. We'll see how y'all like it. I always get nervous when I share something from the home country with you all. Okay, so if you go to my website, thenigergoddess.com, click on recipes if you're on mobile, you'll see the first 2 recipes that pop up will be today's recipe. So this recipe today, this curry, most curries are based like a tomato base. And a lot of times people say, I have a hard time handling tomatoes, or they're not in the mood for tomatoes, they're kind of heavy or whatever. So this one's not a tomato-based version of it. So if you want to follow along with me and make sure I don't start going rogue and making up stuff like I tend to do. Okay, and as I'm starting, last call in the kitchen, guys. Last call in the kitchen. The kitchen closes in 15 minutes. So if you want your pizza, especially if you're getting pizzas, got to bake, our specials of the day, go and get your stuff. You want the soul wrap or anything like that, go ahead and place your order now. It will be ready when the class is over. So I prefer not to cook with oil unless it's like absolutely necessary, because I want to, one, like I tell you, 1 tablespoon of oil is 120 calories. All right, so the pan is nice and hot. So I like to water fry or water saute my veggies. I like to add oil when it's going to add either flavor or texture, instead of just starting off adding an extra 1,000 calories to the meal. So here I have some diced onion that we're going to saute. And when you water saute, it doesn't have to be water. It can be with soy sauce. It can be with broth. It can be with any liquid of choice. And that way, if you want to add oil as a finisher for mouthfeel, you can do that. And that way, you're controlling those empty calories. Because you're not going to even taste, when you just start just guzzling oil and something from the start. What's up? He did. Thank you. Y'all for my beautiful baby sister. Yep. The one that loves my life right there. Okay. All right, so I'm going to saute these onions. When you think of a Jamaican curry, so if I just say I was doing a curry, most people just automatically think Indian curry, yes? No? Okay, we got some travelers in the room. Some. Okay, there we go. Exposure. Exposure makes all the difference in the world. I love it. Okay, when most people think of a curry, they think of an Indian curry. So when you think of a Jamaican curry, and as soon as I said Jamaican, y'all say, ooh, all right. What is that? What do you think you're getting when you get a Jamaican curry that you wouldn't get from your standard curry that makes you swoon like that? The spices. Okay. So what spices are typical in Jamaican cuisine? Do you all know? What? Jamaican curry. Mm-hmm. Coconut milk, thyme, yes. Huh? Scotch bonnet, yeah. So a lot of Caribbean is going to overlap with a lot of particularly West African flavor profiles as well. So yes, there's a lot of overlap there. So hopefully y'all can see this sizzling away. It's already now starting to turn translucent, so I know that's good. I'm going to go ahead and add the bell peppers. This is just mixed colored bell peppers. I buy organic, so I don't care what color it is. I hate green bell peppers personally, so none of my stuff will have green. Even if it says green, I ain't putting green in there. It's green is technically not right, because I think I've told y'all before, green, yellow, orange, and red are the same pepper in different stages of ripeness. And for me, the green just tastes unripe. That's why they're cheaper. Because they didn't have to sit. So just think, the longer they have to sit on that on the plant, that's more time the farmer's got to feed it, nurture it, right? So that's why they're more expensive. So the green ones are cheaper because they don't sit on there as long. So when they're green, you pluck them and it's time to go. All right? Okay. All right, so now I'm going to add in what? All right, so I already chopped these up. So all this, who remembers, especially my OGs, when you have everything already prepped before you start cooking, what is this called? Y'all giving me deer in headlights looks. Mise en place. Oh, my sister remember. Okay, mise en place. And mise en place means what in French? Well, it's a French term that means what in English? Everything in place. So when you have everything in place, a lot less stressful, because you're not like, oh crap, I need to run to the store because I don't have this ingredient. You already start cooking. That's like the worst feeling ever, right? So you want to avoid that. So I'm adding the garlic, or my green onions. Now I'm like doubling, tripling this recipe because I got y'all. Okay, try to do this real quick. Speed this thing all along. Green onions, which is always in Jamaican stuff. You're gonna always see those scallions in there. All right, so it says time. So this is what I like to do. I wrap the time with some twine because at the end we're gonna pull this out. And instead of like, I hate having to go through and just like pick out, and then it's all, I always seem to miss one. And then when I, especially here at the restaurant when I'm making like the rice and peas, yeah. So if you just wrap it in twine, you can just remove it out. If you have an assorted group of fresh herbs that you wrap in twine, it's called a bouquet garni. Just so you know, since we're in a cooking class now, the cooking portion, it's called a bouquet garni. You just wrap it up. You can also alternatively put it in cheesecloth and put it in there so you can just fish it out at the end when you're done with it. Okay. All right, I'm going to add in this freshly minced ginger as well. I shouldn't have to tell you, but I'll just go ahead and say everything here is organic. Okay. Everything is organic. Fresh thyme, fresh thyme, yeah. Fresh thyme is a big staple in West African cuisine. Garlic and ginger is a base for so many cuisines, not just Caribbean and West African, but a lot of Southeast Asian as well. And it just smells magical. Okay. I don't know if y'all can smell it yet, but smelling good to me. Okay. And if you're hungry, make sure you order before we close, because my partner will shut that kitchen down real quick. Okay, because every time after class, I wish you're not still open. Nope, it's shut down. Okay, all right. For the bouillon, I'm using this organic vegetable bouillon, but that's chicken flavor. It says no chicken base. I don't know if y'all can see that, and it's organic. They have chicken, they have beef, they have vegetable. And this is the question I just received. Where do I get this? The same, all the grocery stores. And the thing is, because they look so similar, they're right beside the chicken one. It's always a slightly different color, like this green color, and there's one that's white outside too. That's as well. So it's right beside it. So you probably don't even notice it. Sometimes you probably bought this, didn't realize you bought the no chicken one, but you did. Okay. All right, let me give it a little bit of assistance. My little tasting spoons here. All right. Now again, I'm like tripling the recipe, so I wouldn't add this much. It was just if it wasn't for that. I say y'all can smell it. Oh my God, it smells amazing. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. What else I'm supposed to add? All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and add in the spices that I've already portioned out. Now, the recipe will say Jamaican curry, but I wasn't going to go out and buy Jamaican curry because I have my Nigerian curry. So I'm going to use that, of course. But you do you, okay? I have garam masala right here. Garam masala is a spice blend. That it's in specific proportions. It's used in a lot of Indian cuisine. I've added paprika. Now, this is actually smoked paprika because I just like it better than regular paprika. If you don't want a smoky undertone, don't use smoked paprika. And then this is very specific to most Jamaican cuisine. It's allspice, right? Also known as pimento berries. All right, so I'm adding that because that's a signature flavor. That's in all the rice and pea dishes and all the Jamaican dishes are going to have allspice berries. But in this, since I did the ground instead of the, this is not my recipe, by the way, so I gave credit to the original author. I just made modifications to it to add a little Niger flair to it. All right. Now I'm going to add these potatoes. I like Yukon Gold potatoes. You can use russet if you wish. I like Yukon Gold. They're less starchy. They're kind of buttery. They cook fast. The smaller you cut the potatoes, obviously the quicker they will cook. So I made them rather small for you guys. I'm going to toss that around. Oh, that's looking really good. All right. So we have lentils. Organic lentils. You can use black lentils. I just didn't have it at the grocery. I prefer black lentils. But these are green lentils, aka brown lentils. So it depends on. So if you see brown lentils, it's the same thing. Just don't use the red lentils because they will become mushy in this. But this is our primary protein source. in this dish.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
What about, I think,
Yeah. So she's asking about rainbow lentils and assorted color mix. The more colors, the better. Always eat the rainbow. Okay, you want to make sure that things are in their natural state. So even if it's white naturally, is good. You don't want anything that's white that's been turned white, like white rice, white flour, white sugar. It's been stripped. Okay, but if it's naturally occurring white, all good. All good. Okay, so I added potatoes. I added lentils. Now carrots. I do love carrots. I'm using some heirloom carrots here. Make sure your carrots are organic because sometimes they play some funny games with carrots. But if you're buying organic, you don't have to really worry about that as much. So those are heirloom carrots. So they're purple and yellow and white. And since purple is my favorite color, I tend to buy those all the time. I like anthocyanins. I like that. Now I know we still have a little baby mouths in here.
oh my, yeah.
It's supposed to be Scotch bonnets, which are actually hotter. Hey, baby, what's up? Y'all see my sweetheart? All right, so Scotch bonnets have more of a fruity taste, even though it has more heat. So I went to the African markets and they were sold out of the Scotch bonnets. So I had to buy these habaneros. Okay, so what I'm gonna do to save you all, because I know how y'all are, unfortunately, I'm just gonna put them in whole. Now, normally, if I was making it for the restaurant when I have like Afrobeat Fridays, I would puncture a small hole in it to let some of it seep out, right? And if I was cooking it at home, I would chop it all up and put a couple more in there, okay? Because these are not, I don't consider these hot at all, but whatever. This will impart a little bit of flavor and a tiny itty bitty bit of heat. I shouldn't hear anybody say this thing is hot. Cause y'all see, I didn't even touch it. I didn't even pull it off. I didn't want y'all to think I did something to it. I didn't manipulate it at all. Okay. All right. So we're gonna do that. Add the lentils. I'm gonna add the broth. So I already added in the beyond the better than bouillon. So I'm just gonna add in the water now, so it officially has a broth. And let this cook. And then while this is cooking, what is this? Oh, I had two things of carrots. Okay. We're going to move on to our other dish. Mix that in there. Spinach goes in last.
And the coconut milk stuff, right?
Yeah, after the lentils kind of cook through. I'm let this come to a boil and put the lid on. Then I'm going to switch you over, put you on something new. Okay, so the question I just received is, what is my take on plant-based meat? And I'm assuming you're referring to like the Impossibles and the Beyonds. Okay, so I will give you my professional opinion and I'll give you my personal opinion. So professionally, is it technically healthier than the cow and all that? Yeah, it is. If you do a side-by-side comparison on nutrients and all that, and even protein intake, absolutely is definitely healthier. So yes, and I think it has a purpose because certain people are just very visual and mental people, and psychologically they can't see their plate without something that looks like a meat on there, and that helps them transition to getting out of that mindset. So it has its purpose, and I think it's a good thing. So even at the restaurant, we have an option of plant-based meat, which is Beyond. And I personally would not choose Impossible because they specifically use genetically modified ingredients, bioengineered ingredients, and I just don't play those games. And Beyond Meat does not. They do not use genetically modified ingredients. So that's my professional opinion. Personal opinion. So no, it's an ultra processed food. At the end of the day, it is a ultra processed food. It's made from a pea protein isolate. So anytime you extract something, you're taking it out of its natural way, right? And so since I'm always propagating whole foods, whole plant-based foods, that does not fall in alignment with that. So anything that you see on the Niger Goddess page, there's not one recipe you see with mock meat. Okay, what ultra processed meat, you just don't see it. Now, do I consider tofu or bean curls like that? No, because it's made from one ingredient or two ingredients, right? It's slightly processed. Like right now, we just have fresh carrots and I'm putting them in water to heat up. That's a processing, right? It is not straight from the ground into your mouth. So most foods we consume, unless you're eating a raw diet, which is good for you, um, are modified slightly. But when they're ultra processed, where you have to use machinery and science and all that, it's just not good for the. It's not designed for the human body. Just like seed oils are not designed for the human. Anything that requires a machine is not designed for the human body. Okay, if you can't manipulate with your hands and get it from the ground, it's just not for us. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it at that. So does that answer your question? So that's my personal opinion, but I do feel there's a place for it, and especially like most of our customers that come to the restaurant, 65% of our clientele is not vegan. They come because they like the food, and so for the ones that walk in that someone drugged them in by their reluctant, like I don't want no vegan nothing, right? Having a Beyond Meat option on the menu, they're like, oh, it opens their mind. It's like, okay, they can let the guard down because they're disgusted with the word vegan and not actually what the food actually is. So yeah, it's a purpose for it. I think it's a good thing in the larger scheme of things, but in terms of health and wellness, absolutely not. Especially when you can have mushrooms, jackfruit, cauliflower. I mean, all these other things that you can do that are wholesome and that still will give you, if you feel like, you'll get to the point where like, I don't want anything that looks like meat. Like when I come up with recipes, I might think about, oh, is this light chicken? Is this light? I could care. Like the thought of it it makes me sick, actually. Okay, the question is, if you're a person that consumes fish, what is a good replacement for that? So if you're coming from a texture standpoint, in my personal opinion, I guess in my professional opinion too, since I'm a chef, banana blossoms have the flakiest texture. It had the most realistic texture to fish. Also, jackfruit, when how it's prepared matters. Jackfruit has that same flakiness. Mama Wok is a vegan Chinese restaurant. They have a jackfruit fish, and it's very good. Also, hearts of palm. If you're trying to recreate, like I use hearts of palm for like crab cakes, or any kind of shrimpy kind of face. Alicia. So there are a lot of quote unquote seafood type options that you can have without the dead animal part. Yeah. Okay, I'm making a Jamaican lentil curry, and I'm making a Garri smoothie, which we're about to talk about right now. All right, so while we're over here in the tropics in the Caribbean, we're gonna take a quick little hop over to Nigeria for a second, put you on some of my people's things. So most people have heard of fufu.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, which is actually like pounded yam. There are different types, and so fufu is a type of swallow. Right, they're all different types of swallow, meaning they're made out of different things. Swallow is the fufu that you're used to hearing like that. It's what you swallow because you don't actually chew it. Okay, it's just there for to bulk up the meal because pre-colonization, most of the food was already vegan because it's all vegetable based. So you need to have the calories to make it a full meal. So that's where the swallow comes from, right? You can make swallow from all. You can make it from plantain. You can make it from cassava. You can make it from all millet. You can make it from sorghum, all sorts of things. So this bag here is called Garri. Garri, if you're using an English American accent, Garri. And this particular type of Garri is called Ibeju Garri. This is from the Yoruba people in the southwestern part of Nigeria. And so this Garri is fermented. So this is a prebiotic and a probiotic. And Garri is very, very, very widely known in West Africa, particularly in Nigeria. All right, like this thing, if you're hungry, you're going to be full. It's cheap, it's available, it's everywhere. Oh, thank you. It's Coldwater Springs United Methodist Church. You go to that Coldwater Springs United Methodist Church, and you go to the back, that's where the spring is, and it's free. So you just bring whatever containers you want to use. It's 2550 Cold Springs Road, Concord, North Carolina, 28025. Now, because it's been catching on more and more, there is a line typically, so you might want to go at off hours to thwart that line, but you can fill up to your heart's desire. Okay, so anyway, so this Ijebu Gari, it's fermented. It's fermented for at least a week. So when we think about fermented foods, most time most African foods are never really on the main scene here. Right? Y'all always think about Italian foods, Mexican food, all that stuff. No one ever thinks about the continent of Africa and how much food is there that's delicious that people eat. So when you think of fermented foods, most people think of kimchi, sauerkraut, right? Yogurt, right? Those all basic, boring, over it. Y'all have had it. Okay? Put you on something new. All right. So you got this. All right. So it has a very sour taste because most things that are fermented are sour. Now, we've talked on this class for the new people. We talk a lot about how most Americans eat a lot of salty foods, a lot of sweet foods, but you hardly eat anything that's bitter, hardly eat anything that's sour. We have 5 senses, and you only nurture 2 of them, really. Okay? So you have to want to appreciate those flavor profiles because especially when you do bitter, that stimulates the digestive fire that we were just talking about today. So if you do have low stomach acid, you need to eat more bitter. That means you're eating too much sweet, not enough bitter. Okay? So you also need to eat sour. All right? So this is what this is. Like I said, it's everywhere. And so it's called drinking Garri. And even though it's called drinking Garri, it's in a bowl. So how we do it, you put the Garri in a bowl. You put some ice cubes on it. You put some ground nuts, because most people, you may not be aware, so ground nuts are a staple in West Africa. So coconut, ground nut are staples in the food. You'll see it in pretty much in everything. So you have the ground nuts, and if you want to jazz it, you can add some cashews in there too. You'll add some sugar, and you add some evaporated milk. You let it sit for like a minute or two, and then you eat it, and it cools off the body because it's a tropical place. It cools off the body. You're nourished. You're full for hours, right? So when you come home from school, most people eat as a snack from school. You eat a cereal in the morning if you can, or you come home from school and before you start eating, you eat some Garri. Now, when I was younger and I tried it, I didn't like it. It was sour. I was like, I want some Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I don't want this. Stupid. Stupid. Now I know better. So this is even though it's a starchy, so sometimes you'll read it, people who don't know anything about the continent, they'll say how this is terrible. It's super high in starch, super high in calories. They don't know what they're talking about. The calories go down the longer it ferments. The more it ferments, the more the nutrients are bioavailable to your body. Bioavailable to your body means what? Usable to the body, right? Because I know you hear bioavailable to the body, you know it sounds good, but you don't actually know what it means. That means you can absorb more of those nutrients. Remember we talked about the small intestine where it actually absorbs things. So when you have a malnutrition, a deficient, when you're not absorbing things well, okay. So when it's fermented, the bacteria is already broken a lot of that down for you. All the anti-nutrients and phytic acids is all that's already been broken down. So your body can just absorb more of those nutrients. That's the whole point, okay. It's gluten-free naturally. It has basically no fat. It's a probiotic as well as a prebiotic. Who remembers what the difference? What does a prebiotic do? I'm seeing flickering light bulb there. It does mean before, as in pre, yes. The prebiotics it's the food for the probiotics. All right. And probiotics do what? Helps to break down the food, right? So basically, when we talk about the poop, we talk about poop so much in this class, and we always talk about if you go and defecate, that someone should come right in behind you and not know that you did. You shouldn't be having these blowouts. You should not be using this poopery. You shouldn't all this crap that they're selling. You shouldn't have all that, right? Mirror, you shouldn't need all that. Let me not go on that whole tangent. Let me just not go there. Which is terrible because they don't eat enough fiber, because the most Americans, like I've told you before, get their fiber from hamburger buns and hot dog buns, which is already white bread, which has barely any fiber in it. Meat and dairy do not have a drop of fiber. If you eat fiber, it has to come from a plant, 100%. And when you eat a meal, your fiber intake should be at least between 12 and 15 grams of fiber. And I've told you all many times, if you don't know how much fiber is, something is about looking at it, Google it, okay? That's something you can do your research on, okay? All right, this is what it looks like. They're fine flakes. So they take the cassava. I've brought the cassava in before when I've done pounded yam, when I did a goosey soup. You take that, they shred it. You dry it and you let it ferment for a minimum of 7 days, and that's what gives it a sour taste. Sometimes you'll see, can y'all see it? Am I holding it right? Okay. Um, and sometimes you'll see it kind of orangey red. That means they've added palm oil to it when they did it, which is a good thing too. I'll talk about. So it's really really high in starch, but it's really high in resistant starch. Who recalls what resistant starch is and why it's so good for you? So you can eat all these quote unquote carbs because they try to demonize carbs. I'm like, do you understand broccoli's a carb? Lettuce is a carb, right? It's carb. Your body runs on carbohydrates. You don't want refined carbohydrates. You don't want refined sugar. So all this starch and carb that I put in here is resistant starch, meaning what? My body's not going to absorb it. It's going to pass right through your digestive system, and along the way, it's going to grab all these extra things that your body needs to excrete. Because we told you certain things you have to pee out, other things you have to poop out, right? So this is going to help you poop out those things that you need to poop out. Okay? Natural Miralax. Okay. All right. And so in the samples I have for you all, it's on the top shelf, Akon, on the above the CMOS. The sample I'm pass out for you all. So we have this. I made the coconut milk that's in that, and I didn't have enough coconut. Well, I didn't want to open up another coconut milk, so I'm using this almond milk instead. So this one's going to taste different. Oh, okay. Well, you can't eat a lot of Nigerian food then. It's a lot of coconut. All right, I'm going to pour this in. And then you use your sweetener of choice. You can use some dates. You can use agave, whatever you like. And then the protein source is the ground nuts. Now, ground nuts, peanuts are ground nuts. They're basically the same thing, but they do taste like, if you eat West African ground nut and then eat an American peanut, they taste different. This is a much stronger flavor. So if you don't like the taste of peanuts, if you don't like coconut, you won't like this. Okay. So basically, this has been like a trend because people took drinking Garri, like I told you, that you eat in a bowl, and they blended it and made a smoothie. Okay. And now I'm gonna use agave today because that's what we had here at the restaurant. You sweeten it as much as you like. It is sour. It's sweet and sour. Okay, because it's fermented. Okay. The coconut and the peanuts cut through it, but it's sour. Trust and believe, it's sour. It's sour now. Now I'm talking about Garri on its own. It's sour. All right. Oops. Now, the thing I will tell you, if you do this, it swells up. So when you make this smoothie, you got to drink it kind of fast, because it'll get real thick.
Are we able to use that one and pass out?
Aka, you tell them to you bring the trays of the wild rice out so we can start scooping in a second. This is stuff. So this is great for like weight loss because it is very satiating. Like you will be full. I promise. If you drink a thing, you are gonna be full. Yes, Elvany. For those who didn't get some, my sister will pass out this to you if you want to taste it. But that's just something so you know it's really high resistant starch, like very high resistant starch. You will be full. So if you know like you tend to snack and you don't grab the healthiest snacks, you might want to incorporate this. The more nuts you add to the fuller you'll be. You don't want to add too much Garri because it gets like hella thick, like for real. Like it'll get real thick. But that's what's happening in your stomach. So once you swallow it, it's gonna swell. Like when you drink Miralax or was it Metamucil, all that psyllium husk, it swells, right? That's what makes you feel full, but not feeling bloated though. It makes you feel full, and you're not gonna want to eat until it's time for you to eat again. Okay, and it's also high in. Oh, please don't eat yet. Okay, I got two questions. My first question is, what is my opinion on the blood type diet? And second question is, where do I get the Garri from? All right, the Garri, you can get Garri at any West African market. Yes? Yeah. Right here.
Okay. And I can take this?
at any West African market. And if you all want to, I can sell you some scoops of it today if you want some. Um, yeah, because I mean, this is a staple, so it's not like I can't. But there are several West African. Now, you make sure it's West African, because if it's like, they don't all have the same things, okay? Like, all Asian grocery stores don't have the same thing. If you're Indian, it's not going to have the same thing as a Chinese one. So it's the same thing with us. The 14 West African countries have similar ingredients, which are different from Central Africa, different from North Africa, different from East Africa, okay? So there are, in Charlotte, there are several Ghanaian-owned African markets. Yes, ma'am. So how you'll normally see this, we call it eba. Eba, it'd be a different type of swallow. And so instead of pounded yam that you would eat with a goosey, we would eat it with this. And so it has that slight sourness, because pounded yam has no flavor, no taste whatsoever. But you'll taste that sourness come through. It's going to help digest it better because of what it is. So that's how it's typically used in the cuisine. And then as a drink, as we call it, drinking Garri, which is like a cereal. It's basically you eat it as a cereal. Those are the two most common ways that you're going to see it. And it is, when I say it's everywhere, it's ubiquitous. It's prolific. It's everywhere. You can't talk to a Nigerian that does not eat Garri. Like it just don't even compute. Okay, it just doesn't compute. Okay, so this is abundant. It's abundant. Okay. Yeah, very high in lots of minerals and all those things. Now, this type of Garri is called Ijebu Garri. It's named after the people. Now, a lot of you are going to say the tribe. I would like for us to not use that kind of language. That's colonialism. Tribe means, we are tribe. I know everybody in here, right? Millions of people are not a tribe. It's an ethnic group, okay? It's an ethnic group that has its own dialect, its own everything, right? It's not a tribe, okay? So the Ijebu people, which is like the Yoruba people on the southwestern part of the country, that's what is named after them, Ijebu, because they have an extra long fermentation period. Regular Garri is not fermented this long. It's not. It has a slight sourness to it. It's not as sour as this. Now, for those of you all drinking and say you don't really take, because you're tasting this coconut and it's peanuts, and I said our ground nuts, it's a very strong taste. Compared it to American peanut, it's a very strong taste. Even though they're technically supposed to be the same thing. Just like if you eat rice from one country and eat rice from another country, it's the same rice, but they taste different. It's the same kind of thing. It's much, much stronger, this. Okay. So what I would have done, so without the coconut milk, because coconut and peanuts, coconut and groundnuts are a marriage in heaven in Nigeria, I would have put dried coconut flakes in there if I was using almond milk to give you that flavor. It's a distinct flavor profile that we use. So you're always going to see peanuts of some sort. You're going to see coconut of some sort. You're going to see Garri. Those are just staples, okay? So that's that. So I'm just moving along because we're running out of time here. So I'm serving this curry with wild rice. Now, that's what you have in your cups that were passed around. Now, this wild rice was not cooked. This wild rice was soaked. Because why? Who recalls my OGs? Wild rice is not a rice. Right. It's a grass seed. It's an aquatic grass seed that's actually native to North America. Okay? So because it's a seed, you don't have to cook it. Thank you, sweetheart. Actually, go rinse this too. Thank you. It's called blooming. So blooming can be blooming spices in a fat. That's what it means in the cooking sense. But you can bloom a seed in a liquid. So what I like to do is bloom it in basically a brine, right? So once it's soaking in so I use this no chicken base and put it in water and soaked it and put it for y'all. So it's not cooked. So if you want it softer, let it sit longer. Just change out the water like every day, every 24 hours or so. Like this soaked for 2.5 days to get this consistency. It sit on a countertop. So now it's completely raw. You can add it to salads, right? You can add it as a base. So if you don't want it, because rice has a lot of starch, there's not a lot of nutrients, and especially if you're talking about white rice, right? This is very low starch. This is a complete protein. So 1 cup of wild rice is 14 grams of protein. It's very high in iron, magnesium, manganese, potassium. Iron is very iron rich. Thank you, sweetheart. Great job. So it's a nutrition powerhouse. And when I talk about, yes, ma'am. So no, this is in the regular grocery stores, but it's hard to find. It's not at every grocery store. You're gonna find wild rice blends. Okay, the only two stores that always have wild rice, total wild rice, is Publix and Whole Foods. But today I solved the problem because I bagged up wild rice for y'all that I'm selling that you all at a discount. So this is a pound and a half in each bag for $10. Okay, and if you've ever bought wild rice, you would know how affordable that is. Okay, but it's worth it. It's worth it because this is true nutrients. It's true nutrients. I mean, it's nothing. It's very low in the glycemic index. If you eat white rice, after you cook it, it's very high in the glycemic index, right? So if you have blood sugar sensitivity issues, wild rice is your friend. If you still want to eat rice, you know. So I think we're okay. Looks like we're doing all right over here. Smelling good. To kind of smooth this out and round this out, I'm going to add in like a couple of tablespoons of the ground nut. It's this ground nut from Nigeria. So if you don't have it at home, you can use peanut butter. I think in the recipe I put, because it's like I said, it's not my recipe. I'm just making some Niger modifications. And for those who are new, Niger is a colloquialism for Nigerian. Okay, so anytime you hear somebody say Niger, that means Nigerian. Okay, so that's why I'm the Niger goddess, because I'm a goddess, but I'm Nigerian. Even though Nigerians is from colonialism, you know, because we're all, you know, they just arbitrarily put lines in place. But I'm Nigerian. I'm the Nigerian goddess, the Niger goddess. That's where that comes from. Okay, so we have that. Where's my coconut milk? This is the coconut milk I like because it's 2 ingredients, coconut and water, and it's organic. Okay, and I get this consistently from Harris Teeter. Like I always try to tell you all, your produce managers. Okay, she said senior day is Thursdays at Harris Teeter, and Publix is Wednesday. Good to know. Good to know. So the coconut is the fat that I've added. So it's a whole fat that's been added to this instead of oils. So it makes it far healthier. Okay. Now I'm going to try to add in as much of this pound of spinach as possible, and then season. Well, sprinkle the lime. If you add citrus at the end, you'll always use less salt. Now, with that comment, salt is not bad. So if your doctor has told you go on a salt-free diet, they should have told you increase your potassium. Okay, because that means because it's potassium, everything is in balance. Everything goes hand in hand. Salt and potassium work together. So if your salt's too high, it's because your potassium is too low. And it should be, they're going to say a 4-to-1 ratio. I say 10-to-1 ratio. That means you're not eating enough greens. That's what it really comes down to. So you can still have some salt in your diet, but you need to increase your potassium intake. I'm glad y'all think so. And this is going to wilt down to nothing. This is going to be a whole pound gone. You use whatever green you like. As long as it's green. Because this makes this a complete meal. Now we got one serving of this is 9 grams of protein from the lentils. We have 14 grams from the wild rice. You have your whole complete fat from the coconut milk. This is a whole nourishing meal. I'm going to pull out this bouquet garni of our thyme, so I didn't have to fish for it. See how easy that is. And then I guess I'll go ahead and take out these peppers for y'all start, because I'm just tempted to mush it up. Save that for later. You know, I would love for one to open up, but you know, I'm thinking of y'all. Okay, I got you. I like it hot too. Now you my kind of girl. You're my kind of girl. All right. You tell them to slice this in half for me, please. Both of them. Thank you. All right, we're about there. I'm going to stuff some more in here. I'm going to get the whole pound in there, it looks like. And then we'll come and serve it with you can come up and get it served with your wild rice. And then y'all see how easy this is. You can do this on a weeknight. And this freezes very well. You can make this in bulk. That way on a night where you don't feel like cooking, don't hit the drive-thru. You can either come to Love and Action Cafe, or you can pull this out the freezer. We are Monday through Friday, 11 to 7:15, and Saturday, 11 to 4:15. That's what time the kitchen closes. And we're also on DoorDash and Uber Eats. We have sea moss gel available for sale that I made. So I have the purple and the gold. And then there's a couple jars that have purple and gold in them. Thank you very much. Thank you, Hakeem. All right. So now I got all that spinach in there. Yes, ma'am. Sea moss is your daily multi-mineral. And so it has all 102, in my version, has all 102 minerals, the same proportion as the blood. And that's from the sea moss that I get from St. Lucia and the bladderwrack that we get from Maine. That's what together gives it all 102 minerals. And then there are other things into it to make it medicinal. So I have cayenne pepper in there, even though it's not spicy, but that's the catalyst in the herbal formulation to drive it into the cell. I have lime juice, so it has lots of vitamin C in it. Key lime juice, actually, key limes. And then in this batch is sweetened with agave, so there's no glycemic spike. And so I have the two flavors. One's blueberry lemon ginger, and the other is pineapple lime ginger. And the small jars are they're $20 each. All right, so I got everything in there. I'm going to squeeze this lime. I'm going to taste to see if it needs a pinch of salt after I finish that. And then we get y'all served and out of here. Any questions while we're wrapping this up? What are your thoughts today? Y'all learn something? You be back? We do this every month. All right. Oh, y'all coming from both directions. Okay. We're going to make it work. Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, thank you all so much. We're going to go ahead and officially wrap class. Thank y'all so much. Hope to see you here at the restaurant, and be alert for our next email coming out for the next month's class.